All right, today I want to talk about a book that's been influential for me and for so many others. It is Marcus Aurelius Meditations. And while there are many videos already online of people sharing their thoughts on this book, as that's obvious, it being as popular and as old as it is, what I can do here is, instead of just parroting the thoughts of others, where I will have similar viewpoints, because this book brings out those things in the people who read it. But what I can do is I can also offer my personal experience with the book, the ways it's helped me in my growth, the development of my own personal philosophy, and I can share the insights that I have into what I see when I look at Stoicism and Stoic philosophy and the connections I've made through that. So for those of you who don't exactly know, Marcus Aurelius is commonly known as one of the last great rulers of the Roman Empire. And this book, which is a collection of essentially journal entries that he wrote to himself, they were put together and published as his meditations. That is to say that these journal entries weren't necessarily written to be a published book for others to review. These were, as we see it, his thoughts to himself. And it's believed that a lot of this was written during some of the most difficult times of his life, particularly during times of war, and as he approached his old age. And like we all will be eventually, he was confronted with the idea of his death, and he thought through that and applied Stoicism to that common fear that we all have. And there are several of his meditations or journal entries that deal with that. And I think that this idea of confronting death, yes, it's to help us in the ultimate final sense at the end of our lives, but we also deal with smaller deaths on a more regular basis, losses in our life that may be just the death of who we thought we were or who we thought others were, the death of certain times or eras of our lives. We deal with loss regularly. And as such, considering that we all will suffer in this life, it's good to have a philosophy that prepares you to deal with that in a way that's healthy for you. So let's talk a bit more about the ways that Stoicism largely has helped me in my life. For me, it has helped with quelling anxiety. Not that anxiety is always taken away from my life entirely. It still comes and goes, ebbs and flows, as I think it does for all of us during different times of our lives. But it's helped me to also navigate the anxiety that still is there. And how has it done that? Through one of the core tenets of Stoicism, as I see it, this idea that we must focus on what we can control and learn to understand that which we can't, that which is truly beyond our control. And those things that we do not have control over, we must let go of and use that same energy that we would spend being anxious about those things outside of our control on the things that we can directly control. When I first came across Meditations, I wasn't expecting it to have such a lasting impact on my life. But as I delved deeper into the wisdom of Stoicism, I began to see how profoundly it could reshape my outlook on the world. Meditations, you see, isn't just a philosophical text. It's also a guidebook for personal resilience, especially in the face of adversity. For me, Stoicism has been crucial in dealing with difficult times in my life. It has helped me through the rigorous journey to both get into medical school and then make it through, performing as best as I could while also upholding all the other areas of my life. It's helped me to see that the different areas of my life in which I am personally interested are not by mere chance and not to be taken lightly, not to be disposed of for some other area of my life. More clearly, what I'm speaking of is my interest in my education, as well as my interest in the arts, as well as my interest in taking care of my body through exercise and a proper diet. All of those things are important to me, and all the while it is important to me that I have healthy relationships with others, including my friends and of course my family. I believe that all of those aspects of life are important to someone who follows a Stoic philosophy. And it's helped me to understand that if this is the path through life that I wish to take, I'm not wrong for that. And it is truly worth my while for my mind, body, and spirit. Another way in which it's helped me is to understand that for me, I see a connection between both Western and Eastern philosophies and religion. I'm not a particularly religious person myself, although I do feel a spiritual connection to this life, and I do believe it has a purpose. Through reading the Bible and Buddhist texts, through studying some of ancient Egyptian religion and others, I try to find the commonalities between them all, the things that resonate with me the most. And through reading Meditations and thinking about Stoicism, I see connections between two religions that I'm perhaps most familiar with, that being Christianity and Buddhism. Yet unlike Buddhism, not so rigorous in this manner. It does not call for us to renounce the pleasures of life and to discard of them. It's more moderate in that sense. It teaches us that it's okay to enjoy the things we have while we have them. But like Buddhism, it encourages us not to be so attached to those things that we suffer when they're gone. For all good times will end eventually, and the material possessions that we have may be taken away from us. On the other side of it though, Stoicism diverges to some degree from the guilt associated with enjoying worldly things that may be found in some Protestant Christian circles or ideals. It isn't about feeling shame for taking pleasure in what this life offers. Rather, it teaches us to appreciate without the clinging. Again, for me, I see this as a combination of Christian and Buddhist ideals. In many ways, this is a balance between indulgence and detachment, a middle ground that I've found useful in my own life. Ultimately, one of my favorite ideas from Stoic philosophy that has resonated with me on a deep level as I compare my current self to myself when I was younger is this idea that we suffer more in our minds than in reality. We suffer more in our minds than in reality. How often, particularly in the earlier years of my life, did I spend time staying awake at night or rehearsing potential theoretical conversations in my mind, or preparing for the worst, or worrying about what may happen, when any number of things could happen at any given moment. And particularly the further out in time you try to anticipate what may happen, the more variables are introduced across that length of time. It gets to the point where it's simply not worth your anxiety to worry about those things. What's worth your time now is what's within your control now. Instead of worrying about what may happen, you can anticipate what would make you better today. And today, you can be marginally better than you were yesterday. And if you do that on a regular basis, a daily basis, then you will progress towards the person that you want to become. And on a separate note, just to make the connection, we're not happiest when we finally reach the finish line. That's not even how our dopaminergic system in our brain works. We get dopamine as we perceive the finish line getting closer to us. So let me re-say that. Let me reword that rather. You're happier as you make progress towards your goals than you are when you actually reach the finish line. Once you reach the finish line and that goal is complete, you have a new set of problems, that being to figure out a new goal. Okay? So, as someone who follows Stoic philosophy, don't worry about what you can't control. Focus on what you can do today to improve yourself in mind, body, and spirit. Enjoy what you have while you have it. Let go of the things that you no longer have. And remember to enjoy the process that you're engaged in as you work towards your goals, because that's where life is happening. That's where you are right now. So if you remember those things and you read this book, Meditations, and Seneca's Letters from a Stoic, and Epictetus's Discourses, and I think you'll have enough there to incorporate some of Stoic philosophy into your own life. And different passages will resonate more with you than with others. And that's what's wonderful about these books. They're discrete passages. You could read one a day. You could go back through this book time and time again and get more out of it. It's not just a book to read, but like I said earlier, it's like a guide to life. Incorporate it as much as you find useful. So yeah, thank you for listening to my thoughts on Meditations by Marcus Aurelius. I was looking forward to doing this review and to revisiting my thoughts on the book and on Stoic philosophy overall. It really has played an important role in my life, and I've been grateful to have the ability to go back and read the thoughts of great minds that came before me, even thousands of years ago. So it's really an awesome experience. I would definitely recommend the book, and I'll see you in the next one.